Hi, my name is Brian with SETZER'S, and I'm going to show off this nice 2023 Springdale 311 RE. We'll start off on the front. Tongue jack is a 12-volt power tongue jack. Very simple to use. Light switch. In case of power failure, you have a crank to manually crank this jack up and down. Behind it, we have two what they call 20-pound cylinders. They hold 4.5 gallons of propane. Dual stage regulator with a switchover valve. I just recommend opening one tank at a time. Now behind the propane tanks we have two lithium batteries. Disconnect switch for the batteries themselves. It also has a solar system on top to keep these batteries charged and maintained. I also have a starter kit right here. It's going to come with some essential things: a water pressure regulator, which you always use when you hook water up, a sewer hose when you need to empty some tanks, and a water hose with a 30 to 15 amp adapter. Alright, come on around. We got a pass-through cargo, of course. And then switch here beside it. This is going to be for the front stabilizing jacks. So just press and hold and extend. It's always best to use something underneath the feet of the jacks, wheel chocks. So the important thing about the stabilizing jacks is you always want to make sure you level the camper first before you put these jacks down to stabilize. Coming on down, we have a TV mount. We have a TV hookup here and some outlets to power the TV or anything else that you want to power up. As far as the entrance door, just want to make sure that you open the door as far as you can. And you got to put the steps up or take them out. It'd be a good idea to pull the latch, set the steps where they go, then put the latch back so it's locked in. When you pull the steps out, you have a paddle on each side that'll adjust your legs. Just make sure that you adjust the legs for this plate to go all the way down to the sill on the door frame. We got an outside shower that's right next to the door, which is really nice. That way if you're at the beach, you can at least rinse your feet off before you walk inside the camper. Next to it is a hot water tank. This hot water tank is going to run on propane or electric, either or. You have a drain plug with an anode rod down at the bottom. You're going to use this to drain the hot water tank when you're done using it. Safety blow off. A couple of important things about the hot water tank. Just make sure it's full of water before you turn it on or light it. Alright, next to it is a valve that's going to clean the sensors in the black tank so the monitor panel inside reads accurately. That's what this valve here is for. Clean them sensors off in the tank. We have a switch here close to the rear on the same side as the one in the front for the rear stabilizing jacks. They work exactly like the front. Here we have a cable or satellite inlet if you go to a place and that's available. If not, there's an antenna on the roof for local channels. We have a shore power hookup here. It's going to utilize a 50 amp shore cord. It's going to be still plugging it into 125 only. And next to it we have an exhaust for your furnace. The furnace is going to run on propane only. And then down below we have a bunch of plumbing that basically has two dump stations. This dump here that only has one gate valve is going to be for the kitchen sink only, or a grade number 2 or galley tank. This dump right here has 2 tanks. This gate valve is the black tank gate valve, and this gate valve slightly up underneath here is for the gray number 1 gate tank. And always, especially on this dump where it has a black tank, just make sure that when you go to dump the tanks that you pull the black tank first. Wait till it's done, close it back, and then use the gray tanks to clean out that sewer hose. We also have 2 water line drains that's right above here as well. There's a hot line, cold line. These are just finger tight caps is all that's on them. You're going to use those to flush and clean the water lines and drain when you're done camping. We get up close to the other side of the cargo. We have your water hookups. City water, that's if you go to a place water is available. And then next to it is a fresh holding tank. There's a couple important things about the fresh. One, do not overfill it. Watch the monitor panel when you do fill, and when you are done camping you need to drain it out. It has a drain all the way back, almost in the middle, with the 1 blue line and a finger tight cap on it as well. And that's for the fresh holding only. Other than that, that's everything on the outside. Let's go ahead and move on to the inside. Alright, so coming inside, we got a few switches over here next to the entrance door. One of these switches is going to be for the awning. So I'm going to press and hold extend, put that awning out. This is a nice big awning. So there are a few rules with the awning. Just whenever you go to extend it out, don't overextend it. You want to put it out to where you can see this tube right here. That would be a good indication to not put it out any further. As far as wanting to pitch the awning down, it's as simple as grabbing this bar and just pulling it down. Okay. Before you roll the awning back up, I do recommend putting the pitch back up. And of course, if it's windy, you don't want to put it out, and don't tie or tether the arms down in any way. As far as rolling it back up, just make sure that the arms collapse against the camper wall and you're good to travel. All right. We also have 2 slides on this camper. There's one on both sides of the slide, or both sides of the camper. I'm going to put one out at a time. So some rules for the slide outs. When the slides are inside the camper, don't walk on the floors or sit on the couch or store anything heavy on the slides when they're inside. When they're all the way out, everybody can sit down, no problem. Make sure you put the slides all the way out or all the way in. And before you're done camping, before you bring the slides back in, always check the slide roofs. Make sure that they're clean, free of debris, or it will leak. Nice. And then of course we got some light switches. Switch for the water pump you want to use only for the fresh holding tank. So if the fresh says empty, don't use the water pump. If you hook the city, then you're not using fresh. these two switches is for the hot water tank. One's for gas only, the other one's for electric only. Use either or, not both at the same time. And at the top here is how you're going to monitor, you know, how full your tanks get. As far as your fresh, black, you have a gray tank and a galley tank. Just remember the galley tank is for the kitchen sink only. All right. And then also next here, close to the entrance door, we have a thermostat. This is going to operate your air conditioner, furnace, and fan. Very simple to use. This one's got a never chill refrigerator. This refrigerator is going to run on 12 volt only. You do have a master switch inside the refrigerator to turn it on and off, so that way you're not constantly powering it all the time. We also have a power box right here. It's going to have your 125 breakers, your 12 volt fuses, main breaker of course in the very center. Very simple. Each one's listed for what they're for. So of course we have a stove. Stove's going to be gas only. This does have an igniter knob. This knob just turns clockwise only. Some nice accent lighting. Pretty simple, right? Light the oven. The oven, you gotta hold the knob in. This here will still ignite the pilot. You only gotta hold this in for a good 15 seconds normally. There we go. Once the pilot's lit, you can adjust to your temperature. Actually, not on me. There it goes. Now below the stove, there is an access panel that I have readily removed. I wanted to show you behind the hot water tank, it does have a bypass, 2 valves. Make sure both the valves are turned the same direction for it to be open or closed. So when you're ready to winterize, you'll turn both these valves to bypass the hot water tank. We do have a fireplace in this one. Electric fireplace only. If you do happen to go out and it's below 40 degrees, the fireplace will not turn on for you, so you must use the furnace, warm the camper up, and then you'll be able to use the fireplace once it's warmed up. So, stereo, speakers inside, speakers outside. This one here is already going to come with a TV installed. Alright. Alright. As far as alarms, every camper will come with a smoke alarm, propane and carbon monoxide alarm. Nice clean bathroom. Looks like the switch for the exhaust fan is up in the vent. storage under the bed. Nice wardrobe closet. They got a light in this one. This outlet over here, it's kind of, protruding out from the wall. This is the ground fault reset outlet, so if you do lose any power at the outlets, the ground fault be tripped, the reset is on that outlet in the master bedroom. And then beside the bed, we do have a laundry chute that will go down into the front cargo area as well. All right. That's going to conclude the walkthrough on the inside of the camper. Let's go outside and talk about some inspections. The most important inspection, I believe, is what I call roof inspections. You need to have a roof inspection performed at least twice a year minimum. And what you need to have inspected are these lap seals right here. So you want these to be cleaned and inspected twice a year, no matter what. The lap sealant will be around everything through the roof except the air conditioners. Even on the solar panel mounts, across the front and across the rear. Always make sure those lap seals get cleaned for the inspection. So for those inspections, one of them is going to be wheel bearing inspections. You'll need to have done at least once a year or every 12,000 miles. Just be sure that you keep your wheel bearings greased up and rolling nicely. Also, the battery, you want to always inspect the battery at least once a year. Make sure that you have a load test performed. Make sure that the batteries are going to be operating nominal. All right, and this is going to conclude the demo on this 2023 Springdale 311 RE. Thank you and happy camping.